That was the worst day of my life ever. I feel like my insides are going to pop out my ears.
He pushed himself through the pain barrier again.
That's it now, just go back here and collapse.
The hill before the mountain, in the mountain. Killer. Absolute killer.
It's late summer and hundreds of athletes have gathered in Westport, County Mayo for the Gaelforce Adventure Weekend. Teams will run, climb, cycle, row and navigate their way through some of the toughest terrain in the west of Ireland. Winding through the plains and mountains of Mayo and Galway, the route changes every year. For 3 days, the teams will pass through some of Ireland's most spectacular landscapes. But this is no sightseeing tour.
Obviously this is a sport like any other sport. There's a lot of physical demands for it. You're blasting away, you've got your head down, you're looking at your maps, but every now and then you do actually stop and look around you. You actually absorb this for just maybe only 4 or 5 seconds. You go, my God, look at this, look at where I am. And then you get your map out and you look at it again and then away you go again. But this is what makes it all worthwhile. You're getting out into this stuff, and this is really what makes this sort of an event special.
Gaelforce takes place over a single weekend and features 2 separate races. The first, Gaelforce 6, is a 65-kilometre circuit open to anyone fit enough to complete the distance in a day. Then there's Gaelforce 12, a gruelling 200-kilometre race spread out over 3 days. Part navigation test, part endurance challenge. This one is for seasoned athletes only.
But there's something immensely satisfying and rewarding out of doing really well as a team and getting back, not as a group of individuals, but as a group of mates who've really enjoyed racing together. You're not going to be firing on all cylinders psychologically for 3 days. Somebody's going to have a downtime, and it's up to the other 3 to pull them along and cheer along. You just hope not all 4 of you simultaneously have a real bad time.
Adventure racing is one of the fastest growing amateur team sports in the world. Because of the discipline and commitment it requires, it's also one of the most competitive. Current British champions Aberdeen Asset Management are the favourites here today.
It's definitely a drug. I mean, I'm totally addicted to it, and I feed off it. I mean, I really do. I get a much better high now off this than I do off, 10 pints of Guinness. So it's just a different drug, really, and it's a great drug, and obviously it keeps you fairly healthy. So the only thing with adventure racing, there's a huge amount of variables. It's a long event. If we're going to be out there for 3 days, injuries are very common in adventure racing. There's lots of things that can happen. It's a team event, so there's lots of things that can happen to 4 of you. But on paper, yeah, I would like to think we would be the strongest team, and yeah, we've definitely come here to win.
Half an hour before the race begins, competitors first see a map of the route, which contains a chain of control points. Unsupervised and unsupported, the teams must plot their own route from one point to the next. The key is to maintain speed on a course that until now has been a closely guarded secret.
All the preparation just takes time, and now finally we're at the stage where we can go out and do it. Nervous anticipation.
I've been out here last week checking the course going up on the summits, checking grid references, making sure that access was there and making sure we had a GPS reference for everywhere there's a marker being put.
These are not muscular guys. It's to do with mental ability and mental agility. When they're suffering, when it's cold, when they're tired, and they don't want to let their teammates down. Because it's hard to get 4 people running at the same speed and do the same things and not fall out. And they do fall out, but the best teams can work around that. Other teams, we know quite quickly that there's going to be a problem here, and we'd note that down and we'd keep an eye on those throughout the race. You'll get some injuries, and hopefully they'll all be minor.
With minutes to go before the start of the race, the G12 competitors have studied their maps and checked their tyre pressures. The initial 20k cycle to the foot of Croagh Patrick is just a warm-up. After that, the race continues, on foot, straight up the side of the mountain.
Your marks, get set, go!
teams need to go at a steady pace. With a couple of 100 kilometres ahead of them, a lot of it on 2 wheels, the last thing they need is a blowout.
Where are we on this, Marshall? On the racks? Can we leave our shoes and helmets here?
I really enjoyed last year. It was really tough, but for some reason, I don't know, what's something wrong with me maybe, but I really enjoy that feeling of pushing yourself as hard as you can go and knowing how hard to push yourself. Someone gets tired at one stage, someone gets tired at another stage. You really have to bring each other together and talk each other through it. It's not just a physical event, a lot of it's mental.
There's a few too many bikes here for our liking.
Patrick in particular is it's an amazing mountain. It's spectacular. And looking up, you're certainly going, oh man, I'm tired at this stage. I don't need to be running up here now. Patrick's certainly a high point.
For most people, hiking up to the summit of Patrick, then running back down, would be an achievement in itself. But for the G12 athletes, it's just the first of many stages. And there's no time for a breather. The next checkpoint is 30k further north.
St. Patrick could have found an easier place to pray.
Aberdeen have just got ahead of us just now. An accelerator aren't far behind. I know there's some ropes coming up, so we've got to get there before any queues form. So we're working hard.
Quite big rocks in here, guys.
I just think it gives me a brain holiday, because once you're out there, nothing else matters. It's a way of escaping from the stresses of everyday life.
In a huge way.
Which is quite amazing, but you really are completely free. Once the start goes, all you have is what you've got with you. You know, anything you've forgotten at that stage, so you have to make do with what you've got, and you don't have to worry about bills or work or whether you've turned off the lights or any of those kind of things. All you're doing is looking for the little control points.
It's 9 o'clock, and though dusk is falling, the teams still have a lot of ground to cover before they can camp for the night. The darker it gets, the less navigable and more hazardous this terrain becomes.
Finding things at night is fantastic, especially in unknown territory, because things sort of loom out of you in the night and you think, oh, I'm not so far, and in fact it's much further. But, you know, it's just keeping everything together and trusting your own training, your own skills, and to a certain extent your own instinct, and trusting it and coming up with the goods is just brilliant.
You want to know what we are, is it? CPH. Okay. Okay, back this way. Oh, yeah? Yep.
Next, the teams will abseil down from the ridge they're standing on, find their bikes and cycle another 20k to the campsite.
A little bit of local knowledge helped coming across there. A little bit of local knowledge helped earlier on the bikes, but they just have a little bit of speed in us, so we're just hoping to stay in touch today. And I think we're heading down to Connemara tomorrow, which will be beautiful. Yeah, it's tough, but it'll get tougher, I'm sure it will. We don't know yet what's happening on the next stages, so we've got to save a little bit.
It's night time now, and it's getting colder, and they're getting more fatigued. And we've checked them out at each PC point, and there's no injuries to slow them down, so that there shouldn't be a problem going over the mountains.
Everyone has tough moments, yeah, when your body's saying you should really, really be asleep. Physically, you do feel tired at times, but it's more mentally, and your brain really just wants to shut down, especially if you're trying to mountain bike and your eyes are trying to close. It's a bit dangerous as well. But the nice thing about this race is it's a stage race, so we are going to be allocated a little bit of sleep time. I don't think it's going to be a lot, but we get 1 or 2 hours a night in forced rest, which makes the whole process a bit more enjoyable.
While the leaders get about 5 hours sleep, some teams have had less than 3. Now they all face a 30k jog through the mountains. With any luck, they'll reach the next checkpoint before sunrise.
Oh, we can get until 3 o'clock. But quick bite to eat and straight to sleep. About 2.5 hours sleep.
Quite a long day, going to be a really, really hard day. Going to go on a long, long time.
Is our time already started then?
6:30, yes.
Right, go.
As the G12 athletes head inland from Glashlawn Beach, 350 hopefuls have convened in Westport for the other adventure race of the weekend, Gaelforce 6.
Gaelforce 12 is obviously much tougher. Like, it starts today and it doesn't finish till Sunday. They're out in all sorts of weather, they're doing all sorts of things. So our race is easier in terms of total effort expended, but our race should be faster as well. So it's a different type of thing. It's 1500 metre and a marathon runner. Neither could really excel at the other's race, but at the same time each is very good at what they do.
It was one of the hardest things we ever did.
Yeah,
in life. It's harder than a marathon, you know, but I must say, great crack, great fun. You take your time, nice and steady.
I think we're all pretty unfit. I think we'll probably be doing this at a very slow pace, and I think we'll be very lucky to get in before Mountain Rescue come to collect us on the evening.
We did it for charity, we did it for fun for charity, and just as a team challenge.
Do you need a puncture repair kit? I have one that I don't know how to use, but I have one.
And the hair straightener?
And a hair dryer. Yeah.
We had the fry, and we had the big pot of coffee each. What else did we? Caffeine, more caffeine?
More caffeine.
And 3 sausages. There's a bacon, pudding. Oh, I'll keep us going for the day anyways, I'd say, yeah.
I wouldn't like to be behind you going up, Professor.
The turbo. The turbo.
It's 9 a.m. and G6 is underway. The first checkpoint of this 65-kilometre race is at the edge of Killary Harbour, where the competitors will switch to kayaks and set out across 1.6k of open water.
Oh, we're not doing too badly.
And we're faster than last year. Last year we were about 120. We got down here about 17, 18. So going okay. A few blisters.
Even on a calm day, the waters of Killary are hard to negotiate. But right now, a mild amount of chop will be enough to slow the kayaks down.
Can my mammy see me?
Over there yet?
Oh, that's nice and cold.
I think the worst moment is actually looking down and having squelchy feet and realising you have to go 66 kilometres in wet feet. Probably that for me is the most difficult. And I think when we land on the edge of Killary Harbour, as we have to jump into our kayaks, that'll probably be another moment of dread, particularly if there are any waves lashing against us.
Last year I got cramps all the way along from Kirkpatrick to the finish. My 2 calves were hanging off me. The only thing you can think about then is that the finish line is getting closer with every step. And it's not going to be too sore, and in the morning you'll be very happy. Probably hungover, but very happy anyway.
So do you have to go? Do we have to go all the way around the circle, or what? How can we go out here? Can I go out here?
Terrible. We'll get there. We're going to throw off smiling, you know.
Oh, dry pair of socks, nothing like it. You'll be the winner of it.
Struggling, always struggling. Same way in the morning, always struggling.
Some pains in the legs, all right, but struggling along and hopefully hang in there, you know, get to the end and have a few pints later on and a bit of crack. That's what it's all about, you know.
That's what's driving me.
But before that enticing prospect, they face an especially daunting hike over Kirkpatrick. And up on the mountain, conditions are worsening.
The only place that really still grinds to the back of my head is the bottom of the reek when you just stand down there and you look up. That is like reaching, I'd say, the mile or the wall, as they say in a marathon. You just get that mental block in you and you're just looking at about 1 yard in front of you and you don't look any further. Just keep your head down to the ground and just grind it out. And it's all about grinding. It's funny now, but when you're standing there, you're just going, Jesus.
Oh, brilliant, look at me. Invigorating, so it is. Well, I must have filled in every pudding. Easy enough, you know. No, it was hard. It was really hard. Coming down was a lot worse. We were slipping and sliding all the time. Strong wind up there as well, so that was knocking you back for 6.
all desk-based and car-based, so it is a big challenge to actually get out and do a 66-kilometre course. So I think, moving from quite sedentary jobs, it is actually going to be a big challenge to get out and be that active for the full day and complete the course. I lost a bit of time on the wet bits, but we're here now. We're doing very well. We didn't think we'd get this far.
We're alive.
We did a few blister stops and a few mountain rescue stops, but we're all right.
With a winning time of 3 hours and 30 minutes, reigning champion Peter O'Farrell retains his title.
It's all about the pain at the moment. It's all about the pain, the suffering, the legs, all that type of stuff. Well, it felt good coming in along the road. I only started the cramp like a freak as I about there, so that was nice. There's more coming in now.
I came in probably under 5 hours anyway, so I'm very happy with that. Last year was 5.5. The leg is about to fall off, I think. But yeah, happy enough with that now.
The boys, come Christmas, they think it was a great event. I didn't get over last year. I don't know what I'm here again for. Once you get through it, I'm happy enough.
I hope you're not looking for a comment now, are you? Delighted I did it, it was a hard slog. Will I do it again next year? We'll see.
I think it's a personal best. It was tough going, but enjoyable in a kind of a strange kind of a way,
We didn't want to be last, and we wanted to be in before 8, so we've done well. We've done
and
both.
We wanted to survive it. No serious injuries, so we've completed that. So proud, can't believe that we did it, and we really didn't do any training at all, for this. Well, very little.
We set out to do it for charity, so it's been really good that we've been able to do that and finish it, so we can collect our sponsorship money from our colleagues now on Monday.
Once we finish it, we're all happy. It just hasn't been done by many people, I suppose, and give it hell for leather.
As the G6 competitors take a well-earned rest, G12 is still on the move. Having lost time on the first mountain stage, Team Aberdeen has made up ground and regains the lead. But with very little between the teams, there's no margin for error. Another puncture could spell disaster. At this stage, the teams have been on the go for 100k. They're exhausted. At the halfway checkpoint, the organisers impose a compulsory hour-long break.
There's got to be nothing less sexy than an adventure racer naked in the middle of a race. Kind of shriveled.
Pseudo cream all over the
Pseudo cream everywhere.
Every checkpoint seems to be at the crossover between 3 different maps. I think it's very confusing. It's brilliant how competitive it is. Some races we do, the lead teams will go off and the field will string out really quickly, and you just won't see each other for the whole race sometimes. But within minutes, we've got teams flying in here, and everyone's back together in transitions, and the banter's great. Everyone's winding each other up about how they've done and how they haven't done, and we can all see each other up on the hill at times and amongst the mist. We can see who's taken bad route choices and who's taken some great ones. It's great. It's really, really competitive.
It's ridiculous having an hour's start. We didn't get the kick bloody ages, but now we're going to have to go. It's just not on.
15 minutes there. 1 minute to go, guys.
Jesus. We just spent some money on decent bikes, for God's sake.
Keep going.
Yeah.
See if riding it helps.
Okay,
thank you. Let's go, thanks. We get to go.
In wear and tear, the things that really get hammered are your feet, and it's where really good shoes and footwear are critical, because obviously if your feet go, you are suffering big time. You're not going to be trekking with blistered, swollen feet, so that footwear is absolutely vital. You've really got to look after your feet.
Day 2 ends with a 30k cycle to Loch Mask. Now, 3/4 of the way through the course, the favourites have increased their lead.
Aberdeen Asset Management have really turned on the power, and that's why they're the British champions. They're one of the best teams in the world, so they've put the hammer down, and I think they've got about 15 minutes on us now.
Yeah, pretty solid day really. We're pushing quite hard. We've had a few continuing mechanical problems with our bikes, which has slowed us down a bit, but no, I feel pretty good actually.
Yeah, we're happy enough with today's performance. We lost a little time to Aberdeen. You never know what can happen tomorrow. Another day.
With 150k behind them, the teams set out on the final stage of the race. As they strike out across Lough Mask, it's clear that things haven't gone as well as hoped for Team Killary. But the local heroes are in good spirits.
Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is worth it. Our top 3 placing might have gone out the window this stage. We're still trying to claw it back, but might be on us. So we're going to enjoy it.
I'm learning some French and learning some English.
Who put me with the Frenchman?
Having made it safely across the loch, the teams must now change into dry gear, fuel up and jump on their bikes for the last time. Already, thoughts have turned to the finishing post and beyond.
I've been dreaming of steaks and fry-ups for the last 2 days.
Only 60k to go. To a pint of Guinness.
I told you exactly how I feel, you'd have to edit it.
Adventure racing is one of the fastest growing sports. Very, very addictive. With the hectic lifestyle, people kind of working stupid hours and so on, they want to go out and live a full life as well and spend their hard-earned cash. It's not cheap to do because of gear and so on, but it's certainly the sort of thrill-seeking adventure that people are looking for these days.
Still plagued with bike problems, Team Aberdeen's lead has been cut in half and their nearest rivals are gaining ground.
We just slash the sidewall of the tyre. We've got an inch slash. So we just put a bit of duct tape in there and you never know.
Halfway through what they thought was an uninterrupted cycle stage, the teams are suddenly stopped in their tracks. This surprise challenge will be a test of skill, not endurance, and it could yet level the field.
The aim of the game is that they actually have to hit 150 points before they can actually leave the area. It should take them possibly 10 or 15 minutes, which will hold them back and they'll be all edgy trying to get away.
Team Defence Forces has just found itself at a distinct advantage.
So you just look down the length of it, place it over whatever you want to hit. If you're into shooting guns, look down it like you would look down the barrel of your gun, point over what you want to shoot, and release.
Ollie's a super shot, is what he's. Just too modest.
Generally, adventure races take you to the best part of everywhere because the course organisers get you to drag yourself through the best bits. So, as a way of seeing the world, it's pretty good. You know, I've seen some amazing places, you know, that you wouldn't otherwise get to see.
To miss out on the scenery is missing out on perhaps 50% of the race, and this is just such a wonderful area. I've never had the privilege of being able to be here, and it's absolutely wonderful.
There's lots of attractions to adventure racing, really getting the most of the outdoors and having amazing adventures every time.
It's a sense of self-satisfaction, a sense of challenge, a sense of camaraderie. All those go together to give, you know, great mixture.
We had great fun going around, and we found we couldn't compete with the top couple of teams. They were machines almost. They just kept on going, whereas we had to stop for a few photo opportunities at the top of the mountains and stuff like that.
We're pretty happy. We've come here and done the job we wanted to do. We've won the race. We've also enjoyed ourselves in Ireland and seeing the scenery.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
come back to Gaelforce.
I think we definitely want to come back to Gaelforce as well.
And we're
really
defending champions, so yeah. Got a crown to defend.
Team Aberdeen take the Gaelforce 12 title. Team Sleep Monsters a close second, followed by Irish AR and Team Accelerate tying for third. Team Defence Forces finished first in the pairs race, while in the end, Team Killary placed sixth.
I think people really did enjoy the event. It's testing yourself, putting yourself in the environment where you're going to enjoy it, but you're also going to be challenging yourself every opportunity for 3 days, and I love it.
Thanks, guys. Just when we're struggling.
Good for me. I want to be you. Come on!
We're getting passed by more people than we're passing.
I met him on the way down from the mountain. He's on the way up. He said he was dying, but we're all dying. He's finished, I presume. He didn't fall into a ditch, did he? Jesus, I thought, you know, there was a chance that he could have fallen by the wayside.